Look at that. All right, so this is Bristol, Ratcliffe Street in Bristol. That house, I forgot what it used to be, but I remember hearing that, like, the theater down the street, people would actually reside there that were doing the shows. So yeah, little interesting thing. Okay, so this is the Grundy property. I have a half hour before a tour that I'm taking of the Grundy Museum, which is this house right over here. So I noticed they redid a lot here. I know they were redoing a lot of the grounds. Like they have the little area for the loo or bathroom or water closet, the head. If you guys saw my Ripley's video, you'll see there's a ton of those listed. So yeah. Okay, so the thing I want to tell you about is you got to go to their website. I'm going to put a link in the description because they book ahead of time. So, little PSA. And so they redid a lot here. They always do their gardens very nicely. Even when I was a kid, they did. And then over here is the Grundy Library. Now, the interesting thing with the library is you go in and you have to go down the stairs. I actually want to take a look at this because this is new. Like I said, they redid a lot here just recently. So if I get a chance after I go through the tour, I'm gonna go down. But this, they called it Margaret's Garden. Margaret is, of course, Margaret Grundy, who was the sister of Joseph Grundy. They actually both were single. And the library is actually named after her. Now, I'll show you some stuff here. You always get a great view of the boats, by the way, here. But over there is, I think it's Florence, Roebling, around that area. I do have a Roebling video. I have a couple of them. And then this stretch of land is Burlington Island, which used to have a park on it, like 1800s, 1900s. I remember my grandmother told me that there used to be a ferry that would go from Bristol to the island and then over way across. Got about 15 minutes to go here, but I'm going to show you this. I didn't notice this. This is that garden. The visitor turned to enter one of the rose-covered gateways into the sanctum of Miss Grundy. And a vision most glorious burst into view. The old-fashioned boxwood bordered flower garden and the lovely flowers of one's grandmother's time seemed to be blooming in midsummer array. Ooh, I like how that sounds. That was from a newspaper article in 1917. And then right here is, of course, about Joseph Ridgway Grundy. He actually started a lot of his stuff with industry. He was an industrialist. He also at one point became a politician. He was a U.S. Senator from 1929 to 1930. And when he died, because he didn't have a lot of family, he became where he and like I said, he and his sister were both single. So what happened was when the Grundys died, they donated a lot of the money to Bristol Borough. And that's why, like, if you walk around Bristol Borough, you will see a lot of things with the name Grundy on it, like Grundy Library. It's actually a nice library in there. I've been in there a few times. And then, of course, this is the other part of their lovely thing. Their lovely little garden. Nice little sitting area. It's the kind of place, like, they put like a little coffee kiosk or something here. They can make some money. Especially on the weekends. And, you know, also interesting thing. If you play Pokemon Go still, I haven't played it in a couple of years, but if you play Pokemon Go, I remember right in this garden, it was right here, this statue that I'm coming up on. This statue was a Pokemon gym. This is the bust of Joseph Grundy, who, like I said, is the reason why all this lovely stuff exists. Of course, that white house off in the distance is just a private house. I know the people who live there. They're nice. So, this quote, "If a man does not take pride in his own town, he isn't likely to give a rap for his country." I guess it's like crap. And it was by J. Pavone, and this was erected in 1991. He kind of looks like Teddy Roosevelt, does he not? Kind of cool. This is, look at this. I actually had both of these library cards at one point, and if I can actually kind of show you a rough idea of what a newer Grundy Library card is, if I have it. I don't have it on my key ring, but it actually, oh, there it is. Right there's the newer one. That's actually the current one. They actually have a key ring version too, which is really cool. I was trying to look because I have my keys hooked onto my bag. So I got about 10 minutes. So I might as well get my butt over there.
So you can take pictures in here. We just ask that no flash, of course. No touching or leaning on anything, please. And you need to stay with me. I know you want to wander off, but we need to stay to the house. That was very modern for 1885. So you'll see the registers like in the corners. But again, look at the fireplaces in each room with the tile. They likely were never used. They were just more for aesthetic purposes. Or of a man cave, I call it, right? Yeah. This was William Grundy's study, later Joseph Grundy's. The colors, the green color on the wall is most likely what they had here in 1885, and they found that by some paint drips that were in the corner. So this room is probably one of the more authentic rooms you're going to see. That you can walk right out into those wraparound porches that we saw out back. This was the second room that was redone as part of the restoration. So again, the color scheme you see in here is most likely what they had in 1885 by what they found by some paint drips in the corner. The table has one leaf in it, but believe it or not, there are like five. Something called the Aesthetic Museum. aesthetic movement during the Victorian time was a mixture of traditional European along with Asian influence. And again, this was all restored in 2020. You see a lot of reds and blues, and I think it's obvious, but I like to ask, where do you think that came from? One thing in the room that was the center around the color scheme.
Stained glass window.
Stained glass window. Yeah, and that was added by the Grundy family during that extensive renovation project in the mid-1880s. So this basically was their family room or living room. They didn't do a whole lot of entertaining. Influential during that time period. It's pomegranate. And again, we talked a little bit about Margaret, her interest. Yeah, the marble sink. That
everything was scaled differently back then.
Yeah.
All right, so this is this goes back, that wallpaper, right? And looking at the things with the rug and the wallpaper. Remember I talked about that aesthetic movement downstairs where the mixture of Asian and European. So this is Japanese cherry blossom. I just like to always ask people, what do they think the ceiling wallpaper is called based on that pattern?
Dogwood lightning?
You know, I thought lightning bolts too the first time I saw it, but it's actually called cracked ice.
Interesting.
Yeah. And again, this rug is reproduced again by the same company that did the one downstairs here, Custom Beautiful. On the dresser, excuse me, that is Mary Grundy's authentic Tiffany opera glasses, her dance card, and a traveling makeup case. So that's all.
Her dance card full.
I don't know.
I actually found out about what's with this. I walk by this all the time and I was like, what the heck is it? Found out it's not a part of the original property. The Grundys had a farm in the township. This is actually a carriage house that was based on that farm. Little known fact. So, of course, they made it into the public bathrooms. I like how they have ladies and gentlemen. I kind of want to show you guys something very interesting to this. And again, this is something else I did not know. They got rid of a lot of the bars on the windows. But years ago, I came here when I was younger. And I remember years ago, they used to say like the bars on the windows of that were because of the areas where the roof was low. Of course, when I was a kid, everyone tried to say Margaret Grundy was insane, but ooh, those are nice. Now here's what I want. Now this was actually a street straight down to the Delaware River. I'm trying to go slow because it's a very steep hill. Imagine having to walk up and down this thing all the time. But yeah. But there's something I wanted to point out with this. Interesting thing, if you go to Seaside Heights, New Jersey, there's a carousel that was on that amusement park on that island years ago. One day I gotta go there and find it. I know about the carousel because I used to go to Seaside as a kid, but yeah.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm all right.
Good.
So, yeah, that was actually a gentleman from their security group. The security people here are actually very nice. I used to come to the library a lot when I was a kid. Library's right over there. That's the back end of the library, but I wanted to show you this. And that is, that bottom floor was a furnace. That first one was the servant quarters. Main parts of the house for the Grundy family were the next 3 levels. So yeah, little known fact. And that library, well, it's going to be closing soon, but that library, it's really interesting because when you come in off the street level, you got to go down the stairs to get to the library part itself. And there's a little thing in there about the history of the Grundy family. And, you know, I didn't get time to get any video in there. But, you know, Bristol Day, I might do another video. But yeah, that's kind of cool. It's all free because when Joseph Grundy died, he had a couple of different things he wanted with his estate. One, he wanted a library built because his sister Margaret Grundy, who the library is named after, she was big on literacy. In fact, there used to be a public library across the street from where Grundy Library is. And actually that's actually now a parking lot, like I said, but that was the original library in Bristol. So they built that one about 1960s, and it was named after her. And then the other thing was he wanted his house to be a museum. So that's what that's about. So yeah, and he said about free admission into that museum. So there you go. So yeah, that's Grundy. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, follow me on social media. All the stuff's down below, and I will see you on the next adventure.